Just waiting for Craig to come online. Can everyone hear okay? Is the sound okay? Can everyone hear? Thanks, Jason. Perfect. I think Craig's on his way soon. I'm excited for this one. Well, this one, I say this one, it's the first one. We're done. Let's just see how it goes. I think he's on his way in now. Hopefully we can get some of your questions answered and get some insight into the man behind the feed. What is the time? How long have we got left? Should have some waiting music maybe. Yes, it worked.
There we go. I think the request struggled to go through the first time.
Yeah, I know. It seems to be, it lagged a bit. I saw it, but when I pressed it, it disappeared. So, how you doing?
Cool. Yeah, I'm all right.
This is a good. Let me try and get the screen positioned correctly. There you go. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Same with me.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't got the buds, so I've got like a stand system here with books, and I've still got the telephone on charge.
I've got a little gorilla pod for mine.
Perfect. I think we should start with you telling us a bit about you, to be honest with you, because no one wants to hear me talk. Everyone wants to hear about you.
So I did illustration at university, so that's my background is drawing. Always has been. I've just been working a normal job since then, essentially, and then just decided that I wanted to do something creative again. The only time that I really had was my lunch breaks, so I just started taking my camera out, and that was two and a bit years ago. Started the 6 Feet Under account in January 2 years ago.
And you then, didn't photo anything, and that was like the first time you nothing with your mobile, nothing, just.
Oh, shoot! I'd had a camera before. Like during the at uni, I used to take it around with me. I was always the one that had a camera on me, but I just shot whatever. It could be. I would just happen to be in London for the day, saw something I liked, or I was at a party with some friends, took a couple of pictures there. But I didn't start taking pictures kind of regularly and making an effort with it and setting myself time to go and do it until two years ago, 2 and a bit.
I just got a question now while we're live. What actually is your job?
I work in retail. That's where I've come from. I'm part-time now because this is starting to pick up, and technically now I'm a photographer because the largest share of my income is doing this now than it is that. Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about your workshops and some other stuff. But I asked people to send in some email questions, and me and you spoke about it earlier. And
yeah,
although
we can probably wipe half of them out in one go. Just say what gear I shoot with.
Yeah, I think although you're probably sick of talking about it, 99.9% of the questions were, what gear are you using?
Yeah, it's probably someone in the comments that's going to answer it for me. But Fuji, although I've spent a couple of months away from Fuji over that time, it's pretty much been Fuji cameras the whole way through. But I'd switched to, I tried the Leica for a while, and I had the Leica and the Fuji at the same time. The sensor on the M240 I had wasn't really up to scratch. Tried a Sony for a bit, hated it, came back to Fuji. So, yeah.
There's a lot of hype on Instagram around the Sonys, but it was the user interface. I remember you saying you didn't like.
Yeah, the sensor's great, but I'd rather than everything it did. I'd rather stick that Sony sensor in some old Minolta film camera. I'd have more fun shooting with that than I did shooting with that camera. It just made absolutely no sense. It seems like to be able to tout new features, they'd added things on as extra options when they should have just updated how an old option worked.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're a mess.
I saw that we're going to get into your workflow and we're going to get into all that later on. But now we've got it clear. You use an XT2. Now you use an X Pro 2.
Yeah. Well, I borrowed an XT2 while my Pro 2 was getting fixed for a while. But I started on an X100 back when I still had a Nikon. I had a D600, got an X100, found a really good deal on an X Pro 1 sort of X display kit that I just bought and then sold on again to get an XE2. Had that for a long time, then an XT1, then Pro 2s.
Just for it feels like that the rangefinder. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, I love it. It'd be nice to have the bigger EVF, but it's not even necessarily about the optical part of the rangefinder. Although it's nice to use sometimes, and it's the way the Leicas work. But having the viewfinder set up on that side, so you're not behind the camera, you're just bringing that just up to one side. You're not blocking off anything that you see. It's much quicker to use.
Now, if we're going to talk, I think we can establish what gear you're using. If we talk about your Instagram feed, I noticed as well, I started following you when you was admin on another page. Which we
talk about them.
Of which we do not speak. But I noticed it was around May last year that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, of course, you've always been a good photographer, but it felt like you went up a notch and everything changed. You started using those borders. And after then, it feels like your photography changed. I don't know if that... Can you explain that? Is there anything...
Yeah, there was a bit of a theory, I guess, at different points. I remember talking to someone about it where he was saying, oh, it's 2.0 and 3.0, and he picked out the times, and it really fit with what I considered were the changes. Like back when I used to use a 12mm lens, then I switched, and he noticed the change. The lenses that I was using changed the way I was seeing things. But then what you're talking about was just me not compromising the images, because I don't see in 5x4, I don't frame in 5x4, the camera doesn't shoot in 5x4, so why the hell am I uploading stuff for everyone to see in 5x4? No one's going to buy a print in 5x4. I'm never going to produce one like that, because that's not how I shot the image. So I guess when I changed to doing that, I stopped having to take that into account, because I used to shoot a little bit wider. So I'd basically, half a full step back from the subject than I would really want to be, knowing that I was going to pull it in and lose a bit of the image. But after that, I'm just shooting and keeping the images exactly how they should be.
Because that start, I mean, I've even asked you myself, how do you get those white borders but still have the big page? And it seems
it's reverse engineering, isn't it? That's all I did about it. I saw someone else do it, and I never had to ask them how they did it, because I knew that the biggest you could upload is 5x4. So if I've got a white 5x4, I can slap any shape, size, whatever you want onto that, and it's going to be the biggest that can come up.
I've noticed that you must know as well yourself. You're definitely your page and your photography has definitely influenced and changed the way a lot of Instagram photographers shoot. I can see from Capture Streets. I mean, we feature a lot of photographers, and all of the admins, we sit and look at through hundreds and thousands of photographs. But at that point, it seems last year, everything seems to have changed. Everyone's doing a lot close images. It's a lot less in your face street photography on Instagram.
There's a bit of an influence from the workshops as well, because there's people that were already influenced and kind of mimic our style in some way, whether it was post-processing or they were telling us outright that they were going and picking up, me and Josh, they were going out and picking up the 56mm Fuji lens and shooting street with that.
Yeah.
And some of those people ended up coming to workshops and getting even more kind of more of our style, more of our influence, and then they're going out and people are seeing their stuff and they're getting more popular. It's just sort of spreading and created this net of people shooting with the same stuff.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about the workshops. What's the format for that? Because I see on your stories all the time, it seems like you have them all the time and they're always full and it's just rolling.
Trying to do, we pretty much have done one a month really since last March, and a couple of night ones thrown in there. They always seem to fill up. I might even think sort of we might get down to the last week and have a few spots left, and I think for once that it's not going to fill, and then it does. It's I guess we've kind of fine-tuned it as we've gone through the year, but the first portion of it is really confidence building skills, because you don't want to be later on in the day talking about a great scene that you see, explaining, visualizing and predicting someone's behavior, and just as the moment happens, someone's too nervous to actually go and get the shot. That would be the worst. So we need to get everyone up to the same point so everyone's comfortable, where we can say, right, there's a shot, go, point someone towards something, and they're happy to just go and get it. So we cover all of that stuff, and then the second half of the day is almost people watching, I guess, for us, for me and Josh especially. Once you've found a scene, a lot of it comes down to noticing repeat behaviors in people and predicting what's going to happen, and then just capturing it when it does happen.
Now, when you go out yourself shooting, do you have any kind of how does that work? What's your process? You pick up a camera and you go out. What do you have in mind?
And just walk. That's it. I mean, on certain days, if I'm in Cambridge, being that smaller town centre, if it's sunny and the light's coming in from a certain direction, I'm going to know, this street over there, that spot is going to be lit up. I'll know, what bits, according to what time of year and what direction the sun is, where I can go. And I'm just going to try and maximise my chances by going to those spots that I know are probably going to work. If it's grey or flat, then it's a bit different. You just walk, because you don't know what you're going to come across. Or like today, I was out for about an hour. It was raining. I was just doing kind of my usual thing. I saw someone dressed smart with a really nice umbrella, and I followed them and just see where they go. But being a town that I know as well, if someone turns a corner, I know in 20 meters time they're going to pass in front of a great frame. I know where they're going to go and what the frame is going to be down any street. So I might run ahead or go down a different route to catch them as they pass something.
So that's pretty much okay. For example, that's in case.
There's a good question there, actually. How do you predict shots and human behavior? Well, that's something you just need to be conscious of, because everyone does it. Everyone notices that. And the example I always use, and I use this on workshops a lot, I was doing a one-to-one with a guy in Trafalgar Square, and I said to him, in 30 seconds time, you're going to be able to get a shot where it looks like all the kids sat on the monument in Trafalgar Square are sat on the edge of a giant bag of crisps. It sounds insane, but the reason I knew that was because the guy standing kind of in the perfect spot had just got his bag of crisps, shook it, and straightened the spine of the bag out. Which, if everyone I guess knows, but they just might not register, that means he's going to tip the bag of crisps into his mouth. So that was a behavior I could see in front of me that I knew was going to happen and hadn't happened yet. And I just thought, okay, what can I do with that knowledge? Now that I know that's going to happen, what frame can I make out of that? It's just noticing those things.
Are you able to apply that imagery and that thinking to, I mean, you obviously, as Cambridge is so small, you know it by the back of your hand. You know that if you see a guy coming down the street with a red umbrella, that he's going to be, if he keeps walking straight, he's either going to hit that shop front or he's going to hit that wall. How's that going to work in New York?
Well, the repeat behaviors are going to be a big part of it. There's another element to that is, if you see something great that's happened, you think, you sort of fleeting glance, you've got it in peripheral vision, you think you missed it, it's probably going to happen again. So many times, and very early on, I would see that great thing happen. I think, damn right, I've missed it, and I wouldn't bother bringing my camera up because it's already happened. Now I've seen it happen again so many times that if I see something happen, I'm going to raise my camera up and wait. Because 4 out of 5 times that same thing happens again. People do the same things over and over and over again.
Mm.
So hopefully either I'm going to notice, the two of those elements coming together and see it before it happens, or I'll see something great happen and it's something that's going to repeat.
Yeah. You have a lot. Here we just had a question. What percentage of your shooting is just waiting for someone to pass through a scene?
I guess more of it, actually, these days, probably 50-50. It's not as much waiting as it used to be. When it's sunnier, I guess it does sway a bit more to waiting. When there's the light kind of dictates what you're going to shoot.
Yeah.
You find the frame and then you wait. But yeah, lately, especially while it's been so grey, just walking around and seeing what I see, following people.
We've got some other questions here. The trick is to have a camera phone nearby so you never miss a shot. But it seems like you always have your Fuji. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, people ask me if I shoot with my phone and what the qualities are like and stuff. I've never posted anything from my phone. I've never been in that situation, never needed to. If there was something great happening in front of me and I didn't have a camera, then sure. But yeah, try not to have to be put in that situation.
No, exactly. Now you also had actually I didn't realize that you were gonna be featured. My favorite YouTube channel photography is The Art of Photography. Ted Ford's YouTube channel. And I was watching it, and then he did the subframing section, and then you mentioned that. That's pretty. Has that helped you a lot? Did you notice any difference in followers, and did you get more exploded?
The biggest uptick was the little mention in Kai's video before that.
Yeah.
If you see it as a graph, there's a big jump.
Yeah. Kind
of in 24 hours from that one. Being in Ted's video was a little bump, maybe a week's worth of followers in a day. Kai's one was more like a month, 6 weeks worth in 24 hours. That was crazy.
How many new followers are you getting a day? Roughly.
100, 150 a day at least. Yeah, if there's good features, or if I've been sitting on a post that's, I know I'm waiting to put out at the right time or something, it could be more than that. Yeah, Ted's one was really cool because there's so many of my influences now that I only found through him. So I was searching for as much content as at the time. I was searching for everything I could find on Saul Leiter, just looking up anyone talking about his work. Came across Ted, went through all of his stuff about the old masters. Half of them I'd never heard of before at the time, and then just started participating in the photo assignments he did, and then he ended up featuring me on that one. It was great.
Who are you shooting with often? You out by yourself, or do you have?
Majority of the time I'm on my own. If I get down to London, then I'm shooting with Josh, and we're going around looking at different locations because he's local. He's a good guide, and we've got a similar eye. So anything that he's sort of discovered recently, he'll take me to spots and be like, "Oh yeah, this is a new thing I found," and
then everyone's going to be oversaturating it on Instagram. Then everybody finds it.
Yeah, he's got more time to put in than I do. I'd wish I could be at the point where I'm sitting on a post for 2 months waiting for whatever the signage is in the shot to be gone and removed, and then post my shot. So no one will copy the shot. But I don't have the luxury at the moment.
No, but you're not using JPEG at all, are you? You're just shooting RAW.
But yeah, not anymore. Every now and then I'll post stuff in stories that's just been fired over straight from the camera. I'll put that up while I'm out sometimes, but I'm editing from RAW these days.
Is there any specific reason with that?
Shadow detail, I guess. I had a period maybe 8 months ago. I went to visit my brother in Milan, and for the whole trip I was just shooting JPEG. It was fine out there where you're shooting really harsh sort of sunlight. It was really, really bright, really hot the whole time. But I just started to prefer that kind of borderline where something reads as a silhouette, but there's still detail in the shadow. Yeah. And with the Fuji JPEGs especially do look really good, but you just can't get that kind of fine line. You just haven't got as much subtle tones and transitions in the shadows to do it. No,
exactly. It feels like they are amazing for Instagram size, but blowing them up. I mean, if you recently printed a book as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did that mostly as an archive, really, for the year. I wanted something that if every hard drive I have is just suddenly goes, or I lose them, or they're all corrupted, I don't know what would happen. I just wanted something that had all of the shots that I liked from last year in print. So if the worst happens, I've got that book, and then people saw that I was making it, just putting it together on my Instagram stories, and they were asking where can they buy it. So I had to sort of switch everything from one to another thing, put it into blurb so people could buy it.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, you're out, you're shooting your raw, you go home and you use Lightroom, small changes, and then you try to capture the most of it in camera, because it seems like I've noticed on your stories you usually show the image on the camera, and then there's not much difference from that to when you post it.
No, it's HSL. It's I'm really fussy about the hues of the colors, so I might be. It seems almost, if someone saw me editing, sometimes they might be like, why are you even moving that slider? There's nothing happening. But to me, there is. I'm just really, really fussy about the hue of a blue or a red will have to be exactly where I want. I'll adjust the basics, the exposure and the shadows and highlights and things, and that's kind of it.
You don't seem, there's a bit of a tradition on Instagram in all genres, nature, street, where photographers don't want to say what equipment they're using. They don't want to say what settings they're using. They don't want to say how they take the shots. It all has to be this sort of secret. You don't seem to care about that at all.
No, because I mean, half the time it's not going to make any difference to people anyway. The reason I don't talk about the settings of a shot, the people who ask, what was your shutter speed and aperture and things like that, are people who are starting out and just trying to understand things. And I deliberately don't share that stuff with them most of the time, or if people send me private messages, I'll try and explain to them why it's not going to help. Because if I could tell them every single setting that was on the camera when I took a shot, but if they're not looking at the same thing in the same light, then it's not going to help.
Exactly.
So if people really wanted to know, I could tell them it's not going to help. And when it's the situation behind a shot, I'm always really interested to know. Sometimes I see a shot that you just think, what on earth is even going on there? Like there's just a crazy scenario and you can't even imagine how those things came to be. And the person doesn't explain it, and it drives me crazy. I'm one of those people I have to know. I even sometimes message people and be like, what is this? Like, how did this happen? So I'd like to give a bit of, when it seems right, when it's something really weird, I'd like to give an explanation to it.
Just there's people joining now during the session. You're using a Fuji X-Pro 2 and usually the 56mm, pretty much.
Yeah, most of the time. I've been using the 35-1.4 quite a bit lately. I like the older lenses. The f2s are a bit too quick autofocus for me.
Because I think that's the big difference that this and I feel the same. I dislike this. If you're not out on the street using a film camera and it's another Leica, and 50mm, then you're not really a street photographer. You know what I mean? And you just flipped it all around. You're using a zoom lens, a zoom prime.
I've posted stuff from 135, even a couple of shots from 200mm. I've got an old Canon FD 135mm. It was like £50. I got that lens for. I've used that to shoot in London. You can compress both sides of the street together. It's amazing shooting at that focal length. If it's the right scene, there's just some stuff you can do with that you can't do with anything else.
That's true. What's next for you? What's your plan for the rest of this year?
His workshops somewhere other than London is the thing. I mean, there's no plan for New York. That is just something I said to myself I was going to do. I've never been before, so I had to do that. But hopefully we're going to visit again, because there was a lot of people when I said I was coming that were asking if we're doing a workshop. So hopefully at some point. And then Madrid in September, we're going to do a workshop out there.
It seems like the workshops are the future.
Yeah. Until, I mean, commercial and print and things like that, they're all starting to pick up as well. But it's with the kind of marketing opportunity you've got through something like Instagram, it gives a steady income for someone that, I guess, street's not the most commercially applicable. There's not many street photographers that are well known for doing commercial work in that style. There's a few, and I've done it a little bit, and hopefully I'll do more of that. But workshops seem to be a good way to go.
I think also personally, what separates you from a lot of street photographers is, number one, it's all color, pretty much exclusively all color, and you're able to match. It seems like it's probably hard for you to explain because it's something you do naturally, but you match color more than objects. If you know, do you understand what I mean? You see the color first, and then you see how I can fit the street.
Everything. I mean, I didn't realize it for quite a long time until I started to get into this. I guess sometime in the last year, when in the first year of me shooting street, I was just using a wide angle and doing a Bruce Gilden kind of thing because that's all I'd seen, and that's where I started out. But when I started to, when I started to figure out what it is I actually wanted to do, then I started to realize how much it's influenced by what I did when I was doing illustration. So everything I did back then was color and texture, and I was really obsessed with kind of scratchy pencil marks and loved that texture, and I used to do everything on tracing paper. So the fact that I'm always now shooting through plastic sheeting and obscuring things and doing that, it's all completely, if you saw what I did back then and my photographs now, you'd be like, oh yeah, clearly that's the same person. And it colors the same. I was really fussy with color back then. I used to sort of replace all of my pencil line work with different colors, and used to be really fussy about the hues of things back then.
That's an interesting question we just got. Do you find that you shoot the colors in comparison to your mood when you're out shooting?
More, well, I guess maybe mood's influenced by the weather at the time, but you get a kind of feeling towards what you want to capture. So if it's raining, I guess a lot of the images that I get when it's raining, I do have a bit of a certain color hue to them, and I'll tend to shoot with the 56. But if it's really harsh light and you get that more saturated color out, I tend to shoot wider and try and get more of a scene in. I'm not sort of cutting out the grayness from the sides of the image if it's sunny. You kind of shoot with a bit of for me now, Konstantin Manos is a big influence because I've only discovered him recently, and I love his work. So if it's sunny, just kind of his images are just stuck in my head. And similarly with if it's raining, there's just sort of Saul Leiter images just cycling around, and that's the influence.
That's what I was going to talk about next. Your influences, Instagram influences. Who is it at the moment? If any at all. I mean, do you cycle through other people's work, or do you just get what pops up?
I go through it, and I do see stuff that I like, and I pull things out and save them. There's only one name that ever comes to mind because everyone else that I really like is all Saul Leiter, his house, and people like that I found outside of Instagram. But Paul Biscotti from I found him first through Instagram, and he's a completely different style to me. There's a lot of weighting in his work, but he's not shooting in a style that I tend to shoot. He's shooting a lot more juxtaposition, more like Jonathan Higbee, that kind of style. But some of his images just blow my mind. They're the kind of images that I would have. I've messaged him and said, like, how did this happen? They're just incredible.
That's that kind of street photography, like you say, it feels like every image is a one-of-a-kind image, but they're continuously, all the time, constantly churning out that.
Yeah, but it's a different pace because you might see someone like Biscotti or Jonathan Higbee's got quite a good pace up, but someone like Biscotti might post, he might get one of those images a month because it takes that long to get it, because you might be going back to the same spot every single day to get that. And it's it's worth it because it's not like anyone else.
No. Did you ever get your scaffold shot?
It's still there, but I don't think it's going to happen. Because mostly because I move house in like 2 days, and it's at the bottom of my street here. So when I move, I'm not going to go past it anymore. So yeah, not going to happen.
We've got another question here. Do you ever get in trouble while photographing?
No, that's a common one we cover at the workshops. Is people always expect that we're going to get confrontation all the time. It just doesn't happen.
Mm.
I mean, I shot photos of someone today who was clearly looking at me as I took the photos through her friend's clear umbrella. I just took the photos and walked off.
Mm.
People just don't seem to care. Maybe as you walk off, they're thinking, "Oh, that was weird. What was that guy doing?"
And then their minds have gone,
yeah.
and they've
Yeah,
gone past.
they've got their own stuff to do. People are in a world of their own. They don't notice.
Definitely, and also you're not really doing a kind of intrusive photography. So, for example, if we mention Bruce Gilden flashing someone an inch away from someone's face, then you're going to get a conversation.
If you've ever shot with someone, there's a friend of ours that shoots like that, and I've been walking 3 or 4 paces behind him as he's shooting like that, and I'm just far enough back that something happens, and I hear the person going, "What the?" Like as they turn, and I hear their reaction as he's just flashed them in front of me. It's pretty funny.
Mm. I've been out a few times and tried shooting flash, and I find personally, if I'm shooting flash, then I definitely choose my subjects before I'm going to choose the flash, before I'm going to shoot the flash, which is, it changes the whole mood of the photography, I guess.
There's an element of that fear that if I see someone and at a certain moment they look like the kind of person that I wouldn't want to get too close to and shoot, then for me that says I should be doing it. But if I'm shooting flash, then you might think twice and be like, really, is it worth it?
Do I really want to flash that guy in the face?
Yeah. Mostly for me, I can get away with it. Some kind of distraction technique where I just walk past casually or look past them into the distance and get the shot or something. But with a flash, you can't really get away with that.
No. Are you doing anything on YouTube or anything on the way on YouTube?
We did have plans, but it's just a lot of time. We still got frameworks for videos because me and Josh were going to be doing some stuff with 500px, and that got cancelled when they sold off to that other company. So we've still got frameworks for videos there that were going to be made. Hopefully, still will get made, but they might not get made on our channel. We don't know.
It seems like the platform, the way you shoot and the way you update and the way you upload your stuff takes a lot of time. I mean, you're out shooting all the time. You're pretty much shooting every day now.
Yeah, I mean, literally every day. Like I've been busy getting everything ready to move house, and was over at the new place today. On my way back through town, I stopped for an hour, shot in the rain, and then came back. Like I'll find hours like that anywhere I can.
Well, that's the main thing. Every time you hit the shutter, you get better than the time you were before, I guess.
The more you're out there, the luckier you get, isn't it? It always feels like luck.
The workshops something that you plan to do always? I mean, did you think I'll build a basis on Instagram and then I'll go to the next thing?
It came about by people asking. They said, I started to get a few messages with people saying, "Do you do this?" I was like, "Well, no, but I don't see why I couldn't." And then me and Josh had shot together a fair bit by then and realised, between us we had quite a good following that we should be able to fill a workshop. Picked a date and it filled up, so we just carried on going from there.
So let's talk a little bit about Instagram, which is the main platform which you've been working on, I guess. Everyone's talking about this algorithm and the changes of the algorithm and the updates. What do you think?
It's like magic, isn't it? Sometimes people are convinced that the algorithm's changed in a certain way, and like, oh, if you do this and do that, then this will work. And I've tried, when they change the algorithm around, I'll be like, right, I'll try this different time, try this different technique. And you think you try something 3 times and like one of the posts does well and you're like, yes, I've cracked it, right? That's how it works. And then the next post doesn't do that well. And it's just too hard to predict.
No, it seems
I don't think there's any way around it really. When it was chronological, there were definitely times a day that were better. The only thing that I know that they've changed that's probably taken a hit for me was the way top posts works now. If you're a bigger account and you posted, you were guaranteed to be sitting in the top posts, and you would get seen more and found more through that. And now top post is, I didn't even look at them anymore because I don't know what they're doing with them. They seem to be crazy. They're like 6-month-old posts sitting in there. But yeah, otherwise I can't seem to figure out the algorithm these days. They keep changing things.
Well, I asked this question for you in the DMs, and I got a pretty quick answer. Do you shoot anything other than street?
I'm trying to think. The last thing I shot that wasn't street. No.
No. There's no nature.
No. Well, I mean, I literally have some shots of a squirrel on my camera right now because he was in my garden. But I mean, I'll shoot random things, but it's all sort of in the street realm. There's be some days when I go out and I'm not thinking about people. I'm just thinking about color and composition and minimalist stuff, and I'll shoot that sort of stuff. Yeah, and my wife might ask me for the odd. Oh, there you go. She's saying his wife. Yeah, my wife might ask me for the odd shot of her, and I'll take that. But yeah, there hasn't been any even commercial work that I've done. It's been in my style. It's been sort of staged street kind of scenes, or I've gone out and been deliberately shooting street in a different place and paid to do it. It's always been, yeah, as much as I possibly can. I mean, if someone tomorrow sent me an email about a commercial job for an obscene amount of money shooting something else, then sure, I'll give it a go. But as much as I can, I'll stick to street.
Do you have, here we have another question which comes up a lot. Do you have any other platform that you like apart from Instagram?
It's YouTube. That would be the one. I mean, there's no, I can't see a need or the possibility of something taken over from Instagram at this point. It'd be the same with Facebook. People have put too many images on there, too many years of information just stored on there. So people aren't going to move away from that. But YouTube offers something else. The same way stories offered something else for us to be able to share more. YouTube it just builds on that. So if I want to do something longer form, yeah, the videos that I've kind of got the frameworks for that are more kind of teaching, giving people who can't make it to the workshops a bit of help in that sense. YouTube would be the place to put it, definitely.
Now we're here on Capture Streets. Do you have anything you want to put out there? Any news, any information, anything that's happened?
No, there's no.
Apart from stop asking you what gear you use.
People always seem to know. It proves a lot though that a lot of people didn't realize when I changed. So when I switched from Fuji to Sony, they were like, "Oh my god, I didn't even like. You're shooting Sony now?" Like they didn't realize. And I did the change like through all of them and back to Fuji, and people didn't notice a difference. So the people that get hung up thinking that there's this image quality difference and everything they're going to see, if they're looking at image on Instagram, no, it's just not going to happen.
No, it's interesting. Here we go. Sony point and shoot using an iPad Pro Leica. Exactly. I think the thing we can say to people then is that if they want to know your secrets, which everyone seems to not ask, and what gear, is to go to one of your workshops, I guess. That's as close
they just need they need to go out and shoot. That's it. I mean, the way I post process is I'm always going to end up at the same point. I'm so fussy about the color that I want to get. When I was using a Sony, when I was using a Leica, the end result looked essentially the same. And I was shooting with as near to the same focal length as I could get as well. So.
Yeah, I don't see any difference to be honest with you, I don't see any difference in your feed. I looked at that earlier to see if I could see a link of when you started with the Leica, when you did the Sony. It's pretty much consistent. There's pretty much no difference.
Yeah, I've got confused about some of the Sony images. There's one that I always remember is on the Sony because it was really low light, and I know the Fuji would have struggled a little bit it wouldn't have been as clean. But there's a couple of shots that I've reposted recently, and I had to go in and check before I put tags on there. I was like, what did I shoot this with? I couldn't remember.
So I was talking to another friend of mine. When you zoomed in on one of your stories, you zoomed in on rain droplets of some about of.
Yeah,
That must
I
have
like
been
getting
funny.
them. Yeah, depends how far in. I mean, the
It was
Fuji
really, really,
56 when it nails focus is really sharp.
yeah.
And I shoot that thing wide open so much of the time.
Hmm.
I've never seen a lens that sharp wide open. It's yeah, definite favorite.
Hmm. Is there a difference between Sony and Fuji and focus speed?
Oh yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, there's a shot I put in my stories today actually, and you can't really tell from the shot in the stories, but the focus is off. It missed.
Hmm.
The Sony probably wouldn't have missed, but it was a scene that I was standing and waiting for. So the Sony would have got that shot, but then there would have been 4 or 5 other shots that I got today that the Sony would have missed because I would have been fumbling with buttons and wouldn't have been able to change modes quick enough. So
Yeah. Usability.
it's a good trade-off. I'd rather miss that one shot because the focus system isn't up to it, and get all the shots that I can because I can manipulate the thing quick enough.
Hmm. Now, last question, which I think is the most interesting for me as well. What do you define as street photography? I know we brought this up and we discussed it in your feed before, but
yeah.
for you.
If you're again, you could be in you can be in galleries, it could be an event, anything like that. As long as you didn't ask them to do what they're doing, then it's fair game.
I remember that you put that up as a comment, and it was massive. I couldn't even read the rest of the message.
I was probably ranting about a certain person or certain people that are known for it. It's hard. It's hard with social, I guess, that sometimes you see images and you're not sure if things are genuine, if they're staged or not, and it muddies it for everyone else.
Yeah.
It's going to come out soon enough. Those people that do that are known for doing it. Yeah, they're not going to hide forever. But I just can't. I wouldn't do it, not because it would be deceiving people and it'd be wrong on that front, but because there'd be no satisfaction in it. That feeling you get when you just you get this crazy moment that you just never thought you would catch. There's so much satisfaction in that if you staged it, it'd just be gone. And how would you be motivated to keep going out there and looking for those moments if there's no satisfaction in it?
Interesting. Right, I think we're gonna, for space wise, otherwise we're not gonna be able to load it up onto the thing. We're gonna have to cut it off here, I think.
Yeah, it's 41 minutes, not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. When is your next workshop? Just so people can know.
Next one with space is 28th of April. I think we've got 2 spots left for that.
Yeah.
And then it'll be, I guess, probably the last Saturday of May as well. We'll do one, but we haven't put that date up yet.
Yeah, and they can always check out your feed. And
I'll always say in stories when they're going up, or just go onto my page and hit the link to the website. It'll be on there.
Perfect. Craig, thanks very much for
It's been good.
Do this, and it's been interesting. Hopefully, hopefully, some people got some more answers and some more insight to how your workflow is.
And the people asking, the next workshop's in London. The people who are down there at the bottom.
Yeah, there's a lot of coming in now. Yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed it. Yeah, exactly. Good. What we're going to try and post it onto our feed.
If there's questions I didn't answer that you really want to answer, people can just comment them on any of my pictures. I'll see the comment and I'll reply, or just message me it and I'll reply to you.
Definitely.
Cool.
My friend, take care.
All right, end it there. See ya.
Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll announce the next interview soon. Hopefully we've got another influencer on Instagram. Thanks a lot for dropping by. Take care.